The alt rank half year rankings is out, and I wanted to go over who the top 50 players in the world for the first half of 2026 are. I think that the list partially makes sense, partially has some interesting, results of the algorithms. So I'm very interested to see y'all's opinions on this. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll go from the bottom up. Look, you can save the big reveal for the end if you haven't already seen it, and spoilers for that. So first off, we are going to have Ataru, aka Alice. Alice had a really good first 6 months of this year. I covered, I believe, one of his runs. Was just a very solid play overall. Definitely became the absolute #1 best Roy in Japan, which of course is no laughing matter. 49, we have Gorioka. Again, pretty good results overall. Nothing too crazy, but like consistently being very good. Also, I'm not going to go into the super major of every single one of these players, or this is going to be like an hour and 40-minute long video. So it's going to be rapid fire for some things that aren't like necessarily like, oh, we have to go over this. Also, what you can see from the first bit is Japan obviously dominated this list overall. I can go into the numbers at the very end, but the first 3 players, 50 to 48, are all Japan. The best Roy, the best Joker, the best Fox, all in Japan. Then we have Jazo, of course, one of the best players in North America. The Ken, the Ryu, very strong. Fire had some really good results as well with the Aegis. Just overall, I think got like second at a major this year, which is quite impressive. We have Aka, the hero player, who was of course amazing, but his results were definitely a little bit worse than last year, getting outperformed by the 2 other hero players, like the 2 top hero players, which is Shion and Beast Mode Paul, who we'll get into literally in a couple seconds. I mean, Aka still amazing, just was slightly more faltering than the others. Uame, I'm honestly surprised. I feel like he's a little low. I feel like I always see Uame in like top 8s of majors, and he has some really strong records with a lot of players, but I guess I'm wrong about that, or maybe just like don't understand the contextualization of the people above him. Also, 43, shoutouts, we have Tarek. Tarek finally not getting snubbed from a list. Tarek, of course, one of the best players in the world. I feel like everyone knows this, but as we can see, his last ranking was 84. Which is insane. Obviously, Europe has a little bit of a difficult time getting ranked super highly because Europe has very few majors. They have like 1 or 2 majors an entire year. And so Tarek has to travel, and if he does like slightly underperforming at one of them, or honestly, even if he performs well, but some people just have a really good season, he just slowly gets pushed down and down. So Tarek got top 50. Congrats to him. He definitely deserves it. And next up, we have Shion. Again, hero player, has been very strong this year. Shion definitely but just like eclipsed Aka a little bit in terms of just the strength of hero in general. And at 41, we have Ouch. I feel like Ouch just didn't have any like super duper crazy performances that we kind of know him for. Very solid overall, very good stuff in general, but just not enough to be in the super upper echelons. But obviously one of the strongest players in the world. I mean, he made top 50 for a reason. And then at 40, we have Beast Mode Paul, the highest hero on this list. Paul, my GOAT. Obviously a little bit of a drop off from last year. He did not have a major win this year, but of course he is a very strong player. One of my least favorite players to fight, and that counts for something for sure. But he's just really strong overall, just a great player. We have Cola at 39. Cola had some good results, had some bad results. It's kind of the nature of Roy as a character. Plus, he's been playing a lot of Melee and just got 9th at Gommel in Melee, which is crazy, and I'm gonna go over that in a video for sure. I just haven't had the time. But Cola is absolutely insane. Obviously one of the hypest players in the world, but not really reaching the same heights that we know him to be capable of, so he's a little bit lower, but that's okay. We all know Cola's really good. Next up, we have Luigi, one of the strongest Luigi players in the world. As of course I talked about, it's a little bit hard to get super highly ranked when you are a European, so the fact that Luigi is this high kind of is saying something. He was 37 in the last ranking, so he went down to 38, but still incredibly strong player. We know he's capable of like winning majors, getting top 8 at super majors. He's just really strong. Snow honestly had like a sleeper season. I feel like I didn't see Snow's name a lot, but I'm sure he was just very consistent and always getting like 13th or better, and then having a couple of top 8s. So, Snow gets the 37 here. At 36, we have Mud, aka Ploopy. I actually had to click on the link because I was like, who is this? But Mud is Ploopy. She changed her tag to Mud, I suppose. But as we see, was 131 of the last list, up 95 spots, which is kind of funny. It's the same number of spots that Saya, who we'll get into in a second, went up. But Mud had a really good season. She was very consistent. She was just like so strong overall, had multiple top 8s, some really good wins. I don't know if she actually has as many secondaries. I feel like that's like a local secondary thing, or like some random C tiers that are in Kansas or something. But like the strongest player in the Midwest, I'm pretty sure based on the rankings, one of the strongest players in the United States. Game Watch is a strong character. and Mud really showed it off. She played incredibly well this season. Like, I didn't cover, I don't think, any of Mud's stuff, because people don't want to watch Game & Watch on this channel, really. But that doesn't mean she didn't do well consistently. Like, I definitely, unlike Snow, was like, I feel like I didn't notice Snow do well, but Mud, I definitely saw do well overall. She did great, so good stuff to Mud. Next up, we have Mark, the highest Yoshi on the list. Yoshidora hasn't been playing as much, so we definitely don't see that, like, top 10 or 15 Yoshi type player. But Mark has been absolutely incredible, went up 32 spots. From 6'7" all the way to 35. Just overall really strong, came to the States a couple times, did really well. Not like super duper crazy well, but did really well, had some good wins. So Mark definitely deserves that. We have Neo, of course, one of the best Corins in the entire history of Smash Ultimate. You know, has been really consistent this year, had a couple of really good placements. Again, hasn't, like, actually went to a good bit, actually, of events, but again, didn't really have that, like, 4th, 3rd, 2nd at, like, Super Majors type of performances, but was very, very consistent across the board. So overall, good stuff. We do have Gluto at 33. Gluto had a little bit of a rough season. There weren't that many of, like, major top 8s, or even, like, major wins that we're used to seeing from Gluto. Definitely got a little bit kept in Europe by both Luigi, because the Luigi matchup for Wario was super bad, and then of course Crepe Soleil, who we're actually going to see higher on the list. Crepe did really, really well this season, so definitely gate-kept a couple of those bigger event wins from Gluto overall. At 32, we have Jackal. Jackal had a good season. I was going to say had a sleeper season, but that's not necessarily true. I feel like a lot of people were paying attention to the fact that Jackal did really, really well this season, had very good losses, which is super important in my opinion, and also had some very solid wins. I don't know if Gommel was counted in this all but also just beat Spargo and got top 8 at Gommel, which was really impressive. So Jackal looking to have a good overall year for the season. One of the strongest players, one of the most fundamentally sound players in the world. I know oftentimes when I cover Danny's craziness, I'm like, I love the way Danny plays, but Jackal is definitely the best wolf in the world. So, you know, props to Jackal. At the lower 30s, we have Monty, the highest Game & Watch from the US. Monty, you know, it's Monty mode. We know that Monty is very good. Monty has been a very strong player for quite some time. Got top 8 at multiple S tiers, I'm pretty sure, this year. Has overall played really well. Game & Watch is a strong character. You know, and definitely, I feel like a couple times, like, outperformed, especially at the beginning of the season when Mia was kind of slumping, which is why he's a little bit lower than where we're used to seeing Mia. Monty was still like, hey, I'm actually doing better. But then, of course, Mia, like, the second half of, like, the last, like, quarter of the first half of the year kind of was like, oh, never mind, I'm Mia again. Win, second win. So that's why Monty is lower than Mia overall. But Monty had like a really, really good season. Very, very good. Shoutouts. Daddy Kusu also had a very good season. The Falco, the Steve, the DK, some really strong wins, some really powerful placements. But also, I remember watching the video. Oh, no, that's Maradona. Wait, is Maradona not top 50? Oh shit, Maradona's not top 50. I mean, Falco is definitely a good character to just like wall some matchups. So is DK. Of course, the Steve is. I don't know of any of these other secondaries. I think I've maybe seen the Roy once or twice. But overall, again, Daddy Kusu had a good season, went up 6 points to 30 from 36, so congrats to him. Saya is the first time getting top 100 for this player. Saya, an amazing Ice Climbers player, is just doing so well, getting consistent good wins on a bunch of top players. Just showing how lethal this character is. I feel like we saw Big D. When Big D was doing really well, he was like outplaying people, getting some desyncs. Saya just kills you. Saya is optimal Ice Climbers, and it is very, very fun to watch. Incredibly fun. I'm pretty sure I've covered Saya a couple times in the past 6 months, so you should definitely go check out some of their VODs. They are incredible, but of course, Ice Climbers still have some rough matchups. You know, Game & Watch is pretty hard, Steve is pretty hard, so there's a couple of matchups that, you know, Saya's not beating like Akola or Mia yet. I believe that he can do it. Next up, we have Ken. Ken always just kind of in this top 30. Very strong player. Has very normal losses. Very strong wins overall. You just always see him in like the top 8, top 12, top 16 of Japanese majors and super majors and premieres. So he's going to be here. Kata Age won a major. The first major win in Captain Falcon in Smash Ultimate. Of course, is going to be up here. Very strong player overall. You know, just did really well. And all this, obviously, other than his like even like first place, he still did really well. Was getting like multiple top 8s, multiple top 6s at majors and super majors and stuff like that. Daki also up here, of course, very strong player, really, really good overall. You know, has been a little bit overshadowed by a couple of the other Steves from Japan, but also he's been playing a little bit more Kazuya, so that makes sense, but Kazuya has slightly worse matchups than Steve overall, so he's still doing really solid. He's staying consistent, right? He went up a spot from 27 to 26, so overall very good. But either way, definitely not like in that top 10, top 15 range. Harupoyo, who is a kind of a Steve that came onto the scene in the past, like, 8 months, 10 months, did incredibly well. I saw him multiple times in like top 3, top 5 at majors. Again, he was not on the ranking before. That is why you see those dashes there. The only player on this entire list to not be ranked in any season so far of the top 50, which is incredibly impressive. Shout out to Harupoyo. I guess secondary is Ganondorf. I don't know that, but obviously Steve Main does really well overall, consistently very good. Just a very good Steve. Nothing to really like complain about, just like, unless you're going to complain about Steve, but just really, really good overall. Congrats. At 24, we have T. Everyone knows who T is. The Kazuya, the Pac-Man, the Disrespect, the BM, it seems like, but it works. You can't be in the top 24 players in the world without your Disrespect working. We have Tweak down here at 23. Obviously took his little bit of a break last year and then came back, and the meta has not been super kind for him relative to what we're seeing. He lost a lot to Syrup, who is a little bit higher than this. Steve gives him problems. We're not really seeing him in like those top 3 of majors like, a lot of people are accustomed to, but he'll be back. He'll definitely be back. Tweak is God, right? Like Tweak, we're all members of the Church of Tweak, right? Very good player overall, but yeah, definitely a little bit lower than I feel like a lot of people would expect for him. But hey, if MKLeo can be number like 37, and then we haven't seen him on the list yet, and he's like won majors and super majors this season, like we're good. Speaking of players that went down a little bit, we have Raru as well. Again, was top 10 last year, now 22. Again, just didn't have those super, super strong showings that we are used to seeing from him. Again, had some very good showings, top 4s, top 3s. I think maybe he won a major this year. But like, again, we were used to seeing Raru consistently vie for like 2nd, 3rd place. Like he was at some point like the 3rd best player in Japan. Like I think there was a time that it was like Akola, Doramigi, and him, or like especially when Hurt was banned for a little bit last year, he was definitely in that upper echelon. So, Raru, obviously an incredible player. We know he's very good. Interestingly enough, the only 2 players to not change their position in their ranking are in the next 3 players. We have Toon at number 21 from Chile. Again, clearly the best player in South America. He came over, did really, really well for a couple months. He stayed in the US for a couple months, went to a lot of majors, and he did incredibly well. Again, he's getting top 8s, he's getting top 6s. He's only losing to really good players. He's only beating a lot of great players. Like, he is such a strong player. He was part of that incredible Gluto, run at Kagedibi, which I'm kind of surprised the Gluto's that far down, honestly, given the fact that he had that really good run. But I guess he had a really bad rest of the season because, damn, that run was impressive. But yeah, Toon was just incredibly strong. Like, he's so solid, right? He's so incredibly solid. Doesn't really lose to many people. He's just good overall. The highest Diddy on the list, actually, sandwiched by the 2 players that did not change positions, is Nyono KNB. KNB had a really good season overall. Definitely catapulted himself to the best Diddy in Japan by far, because I know there is obviously a couple of other Diddies in Japan that have historically been very good, like Ryuo, but Nyono KNB just kind of blew everything out of the water. He did so well this season, was consistently just in the top placements, beating a bunch of top players. Again, I don't really think he beat players like Doramigi or Hurt or Akola, but barely anyone beat those 3 players except for each other, so you can't really complain that much. But yeah, really good season overall. We had Wrath at 19. Wrath was just incredibly good, incredibly solid overall. Hard to complain, like, he's just good. Y'all know Wrath is good. Wrath barely loses to anyone. He loses to just, like, the people above him, and that's kind of it. He's very dominant. Y'all know how good Wrath is. Next up, we had Louis Money, who in top, I'm very happy for him because he was barely ranked 50th. He had a crazy first, 3 or 4 months of this year. It was absolutely insane, the run that he went on, just consistently, top 2, top 3 at these majors. It was so, so impressive. Definitely slowed down in the latter half, but again, it was mostly just wow, there's a lot of people that did so well above him. At this point, it's not like, man, Louis Money didn't do well. It's, hey, the people above him actually kind of went crazy. Speaking of crazy, Cripsole, as I mentioned, the dominant player in Europe by far. He was winning basically everything in Europe. Yeah, he went from 48 to 17, incredibly high jump. When he came to the States, he was also doing well. I don't remember how he did. I'm pretty sure he went to Japan. I don't remember how he did, but I'm sure well enough. But yeah, just a really solid season overall. Used the Wario when it was necessary, used the Rob when it was necessary, so it was not just a Steve main, although the Steve obviously is going to be his bread and butter. But again, had just such a good season. We saw him in top 8 winners of multiple majors and super majors. He's just so good. Continuing on that Steve train, Syrup went down a little bit because he was top 10 last season, over down to number 16. But again, Really good overall record. The Steve is very good. The Ness is incredible. He has really good records versus a couple of these top players, especially Tweak. I think he's like 3-0 or 4-0 with Tweak this season. Just so good, right? Oshimo, also incredible. One of the best beginnings of a season. Like, he just was doing so well, only losing to the top of the top of the top in Japan. But unfortunately, the top of the top of the top of Japan are the top of this list. So, you know, it's basically why he's down here, because he couldn't really clutch up a bunch of, like, major winning things. But God, is he good. Light at number 14. Light always going to be a member of this top 15, top 20 area. He is so good, of course, the best Fox in the world by far. I'm actually surprised to see him this high. I thought he was going to be closer to like the 18-19 range, because I thought maybe his head-to-heads are really good, but I thought just like the people like in this like Crepe Soleil, Oshimo Syrup tier, and like Louis Money, I thought maybe did a little better, but you know, I haven't been as much paying attention the past couple months, so I could be wrong about that. So Light, of course, super strong player. Everyone knows him as a super strong player. He's not really going to lose to anything crazy except for like the Ice Climbers or the Luigis or something like that, but he will also beat people's ass if he has the opportunity. At number 13, we have my boy, Mute Ace. Mute Ace had a crazy season, was overall so good, consistently getting top 8, consistently beating so many amazing players, basically only losing to the best of the best of the best players. Just had some incredible showings overall, beating amazing players, was consistently taking sets off of like the super top as well, like Sonics and Zomba. Just overall did so well, didn't really have any major wins, but damn was he good overall. Mute Ace, of course, one of my favorite players to watch. Love watching him. And number 12, we have MK Leo winning 2 majors this year. Again, I don't think S Factor was included in this new part of the ranking, so Leo having a very strong opener to the second half of the year. But like Leo is Leo. He's so good. He really has like been returning to form slowly but surely. Number 12 in the year is so good, because again, the people above him are kind of demons. And he's again beating those demons a lot, just not enough. Like he doesn't necessarily have like winning records versus like the top Japanese talent and stuff, but he is getting wins on them overall. So, you know, he's had a couple of insane runs. I'm honestly a little surprised to see him outside of the top 10 realistically. But yeah, I mean, this is how the algorithms go, right? I'm just a little surprised that, I mean, he had like a mediocre Genesis, I guess, is probably part of it. But, and of course, when I say a mediocre Genesis, I mean like 17th. But again, when you're this high of the list, 17th like isn't really good enough to be like top 10. But again, he's had an incredible overall season. Like he had 17th here. He got 4th at the Kagedibi, which I'm surprised didn't like. Again, there's a couple of things in this algorithm that, of course, I'm always going to disagree with some parts of an algorithm. Maybe it just valued head-to-head so much, and so the top Japanese players just kind of farmed each other for wins. And that's not like disparaging the Japanese players, of course, it's disparaging the algorithm. Because at number 11, we have Yauda. He won 2 majors and 2 super majors this season, and he's not top 10 somehow. And I checked. Let's look. His super major performances are good. So this is the first half of the, well, it's not the first half of the year necessarily, but down here, still the first half of the year, we have 4th at an A tier. We had 17th at this S plus tier, which again, I just said like 17th is kind of bad, but that's his worst placement, tied at Impact Major. Then he had 13th at S Factor. He won 4 majors, and he has a bunch of amazing wins. I'm a little bit surprised to see him in at 11th. I really thought he was going to be like top 8 or 7 or something like that. But number 11 still, of course, amazing. Went up from 26. Yauda, I think everyone knows, is like one of the strongest players in the world. I mean, clearly he's ranked number 11. I just thought he would get top 10. And he lost top 10 to the person who I always kind of disagree with being top 10, who is Shutone. I feel like Shutone, something about, I don't know, maybe he just like gets really good wins enough times, but I feel like Shutone had a weaker season overall because Shutone didn't really win anything. We see his win here is a B tier, but he did not win any super majors or majors this year. And yet he was first, or he was above him. Like, he didn't really do bad, right? He didn't do bad at anything, right? Like, his worst placement this entire season was his 9th at Genesis. Oh, no, it was his 17th, which matched Yauda's at Maisuma Top number 2, like the Super Maisuma Top. But, like, he didn't really, like, he placed 9th once, and then he's been in top 8 for everything. But, like, he didn't win anything. And again, I just feel like peaks of like winning majors, especially when you're this high, should value something. And it's not like Yauda did bad. He got 17th twice. One of them, Shutone, also got 17th. They both got 7th at Kagedibi. Yauda just, I don't know, man. Like, something about, again, I just don't like exactly how the algorithm kind of like show, like, it's like, hey, you're consistent, but you don't have peaks. That's more important than having the peaks. because I feel like peaks are super important, especially considering Yauda was also consistent, but whatever. Shuton obviously had a great season. Like, I'm not disparaging that. I just think Yauda should have been higher. Peanut at number 9, one of the best players in the world. I'm really glad he finally reached the top 10 because damn is he good. He's one of the best players. I mean, clearly he's the second best player in the US, which I don't disagree with. I think that the top 3 in the US I super duper agree with being Zomba, Peanut, and Mudes. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, Peanut had an amazing season. He obviously took a couple months, like, not super competing, but the beginning of his year was so good, and, like, barely anyone's beating Peanut, right? Peanut is only losing to the best of the best of the best players, so I think this makes sense. Spargo being at number 8 dropped a little bit from last season, but I think everyone knew that was going to happen, right? He didn't have, like, the incredible consistency of last season. He had less of the peaks of his last year, but of course, Spargo is Spargo. He's really good. He didn't really do poorly at anything, but, like, you know, he had a couple of questionable losses, especially, I remember at the beginning of the season, he lost at that one, like, Midwest major, like, pretty early in winners. I think he also lost to Sir Dank, at Let's Make Big Moves, or maybe was Let's Make Big Moves the Lucas player? I don't remember, but I know Spargo had a couple of weird losses, but then would, like, rally and do well in the tournament, so, you know, Spargo is really good. We all know Spargo is really good, so this isn't a surprise. Again, I thought maybe Yauda and Leo would be higher, and like Spargo would be at like the 11th or 12th, but again, I'm not paying as much attention, and the algorithm, but something I do agree with is Carmelo being number 7. Carmelo's been so good this season. He won a couple majors, he just did good overall. He's just a strong Steve player. He's just a very, very strong player that makes really good bracket runs overall. Speaking of good bracket runs overall, we have Mia. Again, Mia, couple of weird placements at the beginning. The first 2 or 3 months of this year were not kind to him, but then the second 3 months of the season were really good to him. Mia started winning everything like he does. So yeah, top 10 obviously makes sense for him. A little bit outside the top 5 is not like super a surprise given his inconsistencies because everyone above him is just so consistent. Zomba has done so well. Honestly, I thought Zomba was going to be above Sonics, but again, Sonics won Genesis, which kind of helps that. But Zomba overall just did so good this season. He is clearly one of the best players in the world. You will always expect him to be in like top 3 of tournaments. He basically only loses to the top of the top, and that's even sometimes he beats them, right? So it's always a back and forth between these top 5 players. Sonic's the best player in North America, again, winning Genesis, not a surprise. Very few people beat Sonics overall. He just didn't go to as much as the top 3 especially, so I feel like if Sonics had the attendance to equal Hurt, Doramigi, and Akola, he probably would have been in that top 3, but Hurt, Doramigi, and Akola went to everything and also were just trading first, second, and third places. They were so strong. We had Level Up Expo, we had Kagaribi, we had, Hurt also won Gommel, which I don't think was counted for this. He also won Let's Make Big Moves. Like, these 3 are insane. Obviously, these were going to be the top 3 players in the world. I think if you didn't think these players were the top 3 in some order, you weren't paying enough attention because obviously this was going to happen. Hurt is insane. One of the best players in the world. I think probably the most impressive player in the world personally because I am a very much like Snake doubter, and then I watch him play and I'm like, damn, he's really fucking good. He's so good, and that was my one F-bomb for the video, and Hurt deserves it. Doramigi and Akola, though, obviously Doramigi was the number 1 player, kind of didn't falter. He got like 5th, and that was his like bad placements, like, oh, he lost to Zomba, and then they were top 2 at Kagaribi, and they just beat everybody. Doramigi and Akola just beat everybody. Akola got number 1 because he won the biggest tournament of the year, which again is why I thought Akola was going to be the number 1 last year, but it didn't happen that way. But in the half year, it kind of ends up mattering a little bit more because there's less tournaments to kind of fill out the, the resumes for these players. But in the first half of the year, winning Kagaribi over Doramigi, which again was literally off like a couple frames of Doramigi just barely not being fast enough. So that probably is going to haunt him. But yeah, obviously these are the top 2 players in the world. I think 3, 2, 1 make 100% sense. There is no really arguing that these are the top 3 players in the world. And yeah, like, it was just so strong overall. Like, these 3 seasons, like, Akola barely lost to anybody. He lost to, like, Doramigi and Hurt and Zomba. And that was kind of it. He didn't even lose to Spargo. He had a winning record on Spargo, which is, like, crazy. Like, they beat each other back and forth, but Akola winning the biggest tournament of the year, and it's going to be the biggest tournament of the entire year, is going to do a lot. So yeah, that is going to be The full list, let me know what you agree and disagree with. I'm actually going to do some stats right now. So this isn't quite the end of the video of like how many players are Japan and blah, blah, blah. So give me a sec. So overall, we had 17 players from North America, 26 players from Japan, which makes sense, especially at the beginning of the list, 3 European players, 1 player from South America, and 1 player from wherever Neo decides to be, because sometimes he's in the Philippines, sometimes he's in Indonesia, and then sometimes he's in Japan. So if you want to count him as Japan, even though he doesn't live in Japan currently, you can bump the Japan representation of this list to 27. But yeah, just like overall, just this, obviously the game is largely, you know, Japan just does really well, and you can't even say like, oh, but that's just because there's more majors in Japan, because when the Japanese players come to the States, they also do really well. We've seen a lot of North American majors dominated by the Japanese scene. But yeah, like, I feel like the gap is not that big. I mean, besides Akola hurt Doramigi, but also like Leo beats Hurt, Tweet can beat Doramigi, Akola is kind of a mystery. I don't know who's going to beat Akola in North America. Zomba, I suppose, will beat him. Zomba can beat all of them, realistically. But, yeah, I mean, overall, just, this is a good list, in my opinion. Again, I do think that Leo and Yaoda should have been higher, and maybe Spargo and Shutone should have been a little bit lower. But I always underrate Shutone, literally consistently. I always think Shutone's going to be, like, number 15, and then he's, like, number 8, and I'm like, sure, I guess. So that's maybe just my perception of his majors. I don't know. But yeah, what did you think of the list overall? I'm very curious. Let me know down in the comments down below. And as always, social media and partner stuff is down below. And I will see you all next time. Peace.